Oh, I ain't got the keys for this, have I? Ah.
Adam, found your glasses.
Hello everybody, I hope you're well. It's a beautiful day, one of many forecasts, and apparently we're going to get up to the dizzy heights of 30 degrees. We shall see. So what better opportunity have we got than to stay indoors all week and get a lot of jobs knocked off, starting with the drainage. So let's show you where we're up to. And here we have it, said drainage. That pipe is just laid in there for the time being, just to suit what our angles are going to be. I cut this concrete in the last video and make a mark on the sterling job at digging it all out. Now, whenever you need to put any of this in yourself, you need to find your finishing point, your existing. Obviously, it's a new build, you won't have this, you're doing it all from brand new. But domestically, you will find something somewhere that you need to tap into, and this is our one on this particular project. I put this in a couple of videos ago, that's about 1 metre long. So the end of this pipe is the existing, nothing to do with us. It goes from there into the inspection chamber, already existing in the driveway. And so we need to get to there. It's as simple as that. So this is our lowest point. And I didn't really want to get any 90-degree bends and go up and over this footing. So I asked Mick if he wouldn't mind just breaking all that out and getting the entire trench down to that level, which he's done a beautiful job of. So here we go. So we will now tell you how to get from your existing all the way to the very far end of wherever it is you need to be. Are we rolling? Are we on? Michael is behind the camera. So hello, Michael.
Hello, Michael.
There you go. Excellent. So if you just show them this, Mick, please. This is a 6 metre pipe which we haven't cut yet. By pure chance, it's more or less perfect right to the very end. We'll go up to there a little bit later on. We'll just connect this in so we know what we're playing with. That is the end of a brand new pipe, and that is the end of a brand new pipe. So they have got their factory chamfer on them. So we haven't done anything special there. We've just connected it all up. So we'll go into more detail about how you do that once we're at the business end over there. But we just thought we'll show you this, because I think this is the only time we're going to use this one, this particular job. This is a 110mm or plastic to plastic rubber coupler with Jubilee clips on. You can get these in plastic sleeves, but I prefer these bad boys. It's more of it, especially if it's going underground, you're never going to see it again. Top tip for you: measure the width. This is a bit of a funky looking one, that is. It's so it's a bit wider than the other ones. Measure the width, in this case 120mm, and halve it 60mm, and then put a 60mm mark on either end of the pipe, just so you know. In fact, I'll demonstrate now. That goes in. That then slips all the way over, like so. That pipe goes to there and touches. That then slips all the way over, and if you take it to your 60mm mark, you know then that the joint between the two pipes is exactly in the middle of your sleeve, which is what you want. Because if you don't do that, as soon as you lose sight of it, you do think, oh, where is this? And it could be over here or somewhere. And then when you tighten them up, it'll go a bit skewy. You don't need a Fandango tool with it. You can get a hex drive bit screwdriver or a flathead screwdriver. But being as I've got one of these, I'm going to use it. 8mm, if you're wondering. Don't give it the big balls. Nearly swore then. That is basically it. Now you've connected two pipes together with a sleeve. That ain't going to leak, they're great. Once we've done everything we're going to do, we'll come back, we'll tweak them, make sure everything is nice and tight, and then we'll cover it up. And that is how you install one of them. Now we'll go over there and do something else. Okay, with that in, and this pipe more or less in its final resting place, we'll go into fine adjustments on the actual fall a little bit later on. I've used a 6 metre pipe because there's no joins in that now, and no joins is obviously better. The fewer the better. I think we can all agree on that. So we are now in the business end and the awkward bit, and this is the bit that you really do have to think about and try and get it right first time. It can be adjusted, but it's a pig to adjust. So let's try and think about it. This is the bathroom. We need waste for a sink, which is going on this wall, toilet and shower on that wall. That is it in this room. And then the waste is to be continued through into the utility, where we need a waste for the condenser pipe of the boiler, the washing machine and dryer, and the sink, which is underneath the window there. So that's what we've got to do. That's what we've got to get in place correctly first time. So the first thing we've come across then is our sink, which needs to go here. Now this wall, albeit temporary for security when we first started the job, happens to be exactly where the bathroom wall is going to go. So we can use this as a reference point. And I've been told that the sink is to be a wall mounted thing, no pedestal. So the waste needs to go into the sink, nice and hidden. So it's got to be in the wall. So that being said, what we are going to do is, that's a straight edge, that's where our wall meets our pipe that we've just put in. And what we're going to do, we're going to put this in like so. So that 110 outlet there, or inlet, whichever way you look at it, I suppose, is in the wall, in the space of the wall. Bear in mind that where this is going to be is under the floor anyway, or well within the floor space. So we haven't got to worry anything to do about heights at the moment. So that needs to go there. So once that hole is in the middle of our wall there, that leaves us that mark. Is that mark there? That's cut. Now that mark, just to show you, now I've done this loads of times before. You put it on the pipe like that, and then you mark the far end. Well, you've cut it too short then, because this needs to go on over the actual pipe itself, and the pipe goes into this bit there. So if ever you put a pipe on a pipe to mark it up, don't mark that end, mark that end there. That's where it goes, and then once that goes in, that will be exactly where it needs to be. Alternatively, you can mark that end, measure from the end to that rim there, and then take that measurement off. But then you've got loads of marks on the pipe. You'll cut the wrong one, and all of a sudden that then is too long, and you're replacing a lot or putting another joint in. Nightmare. So I'm going to cut that now, and then we will get that onto there using Mix new tool. Right, that's cut. Lovely, except when you cut a pipe, you're going to have a square edge to it, and it needs to be chamfered, and we've showed you this in previous videos, and I put links to it before as well. That is my chamfering tool, fits into SDS, and it gives a lovely chamfer to a square 110mm pipe, except Michael, 2 seconds, has bought this one. Same sort of price, not SDS, fits in, so it's got to go into a drill, but according to the reviews that he's read, this is better than that one. Well, let's have a look, shall we? Let's give it a go. I've used that yellow one loads of times, so I'll give that to Mick. I'll give it a go, and I'll give you my honest review. We're on drill. Right then.
Let me get myself sorted.
You be careful.
Okay.
Ready?
How we do?
That is lovely. That is a lot different. Now then. I like that. That's much better. It throws out the not swarf, is it? Burr. It throws out the burr out of those holes a lot better. But look at that. That has give that. That's better than mine, Mick.
I like it.
Well done.
The only downside I've found, if you go down, is when you come to take it off, you've got this, you need to use your other hand, you know what I mean? So if you're doing this, you're sort of grabbing on the, catching your fingers on the blade, the arse end of the blade.
It's so negative.
No,
I was bigging that up then, everything. Now you've just put people off. No, that I like that.
Careful.
Well, do you know where you got it from? Well, can I confidently say there will be a link in the description?
There will be a link in the description.
Excellent. Well, there you go. Right then, we'll get that on, and then we'll crack on. Right, so we've got the chamfered edge that we've just done. We've got our fitting, and we've lubed it up with a bit of lemon blast. How about that? You can buy the proper lube for this, but this is just as good if you've got some. Give it a fair bit each side, and then all you do, you've got to find the sweet spot. It can be awkward. Boom, there we go. Now, because we've marked it there, same principle as what I showed you before, we know that's on fully. You heard it go in there as well. But also, with these short little runs, you get your hand in and make sure that that pipe is touching that collar there. And you're all good. And that is that. So if we can just move that broom out of the way now, get that down. That now is in the middle of our wall, ready to take the waste from the sink, which will be at some point. We'll come back to that and make all the little micro adjustments out in a bit. But now we will carry on to our toilet and we'll get that in. Right, just going to show you that we've been extremely lucky here. This pipe we have cut the socket off it, as you've just seen, installed that, put the socket back in, and we are exactly where we need to be in terms of length up against this wall with our return to go into the utility through the bathroom. So that is perfect. We haven't, all we've wasted there is what we've lost making the actual cut. And then here's a lesson for you. Don't throw anything away if you're doing jobs like this over and over again. Because Mark has just had a rummage, haven't you, Mark?
Well, I have indeed.
Fair play to you. And when he finished, he went up there and had a look for some fittings in my bag in the garden. And he's found that, which is chamfered both sides, which I didn't throw away from God knows when. And we have got, where are we? We have got that as well. Now, the reason why this is, again, fell lucky, we want, because Mick does a lot of these in his normal day-to-day job, he reckons that off a wall, the middle of the toilet is to be 500 mil, 450.
450 is a minimum.
450 is minimum. We've given it 500, so we've got plenty of space from the toilet to the wall and not wasted space at the same time. So that's our 500 mark. If we then put this thing that we found into there, which is pre-chamfered, and then this thing that we found into there, again, which is pre-chamfered, it only brings us slap bang into the middle of our line. How's about that then? It's amazing, isn't it? The nation's going wild as we speak. What do you reckon? So we'll get that all together then, and then we'll show you how we're going from our toilet to our shower and then beyond. From bathroom and beyond. That's one for our American viewers, isn't it? Both of them.
Just left that one.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. He's gone. And there we have it. 110 mil, reduced down to 40 mil. All the way around. Ideally, I would have liked to have bought the 110 mil all the way across to there. There's a bit more confidence boosting about that. However, because of these pipes that lead along the floor and elbow up to the boiler, it made it nigh on impossible. So what have we got then? Waste for the condenser for said boiler, washer dryer, and then sink that's just there. I haven't filmed gluing them together. I'm no plumber, but it's really simple. Really, I might show you in future videos. But what I will show you is how we have reduced it from 110 to 40 mil. And my preferred method, and there's a few on the market, but my preferred method is using these little bad boys. Push fit, must go into a socketed end. And yeah, and there we go. This one in particular is 1.25 inches. Is that 32 mil? I forget now. Because this is for, as I said, the basin, in the hand basin, in the bathroom. So that only needs to be 1.25 inches there. But you can get them in singles, obviously, of either size. You can get them doubles of the same size, or doubles one size and the other, i.e. 1.5 inches and 1.25 inches. And just to show you around here, what we've done, this is a double 1.5 inches down there, pushed in, and then it's got a nice compression fitting then for our 40 mil that goes into that bottom one, and then the top one is going to be for the shower, which is where that table is, all to be sorted at a later date, but we're good. That is now sorted. But what Mark is now doing is getting the pea gravel down here, which is an essential addition you need to do. Now, it is the only material that you can use. The reason being, I'll just show you, it is the only material that, once poured in, it goes around all of the pipe itself, and it all settles in, and it supports it in its entirety all the way down. So it is extremely important that you encase your underground pipes in 10mm pea gravel. Nothing else will do. That is it. And as for the falls sort of gold standard, I believe, is 1 in 40, which means every 40 inches horizontally, it drops vertically 1 inch. Now, in new money, I make that 1,000 or a metre, 1,000mm, and down 25. So to do that, you can get a piece of stick if you want, but this level happens to be 1 metre long, and I have taped 25mm worth of packers on it, so like so, and then you put that on your pipe, and then when you get the level, you know then you've got 1 in 40. But let me just show you something. That is out. We are slightly steeper than 1 in 40. Now, let me just explain to you why that is not a big deal. I've done loads of these over the years, and I've dug out loads of these as well when I'm doing extensions, and there is so many that are far steeper than 1 in 40. I know you can get down to 1 in 60, maybe even 1 in 80, but some of them underground, they just bypass all that. And they work, don't they? They're existing, they don't back up, it just flows. The whole point of this 1 in 40 and getting the fall right is that the theory is that if it's too fast, if it's too steep, the water will go too fast and leave the waste behind. It won't follow down, and anything too shallow, obviously it won't, the water will go too slow and the waste won't flow properly, and it could back up and start clogging, that kind of thing. So getting this magic 1 in 40 is sort of the gold standard. Everything is supposed to flow lovely. However, in my personal experience, getting it at 140 minimum, anything steeper than that, you're going to be fine, because you wouldn't have any issue with it going through a house at 140, then vertical, and then back in. You know, that's obviously steeper than 1 in 40, and they don't back up there, do they? So just don't worry too much about it. Get it 1 in 40 or steeper, and you're going to be fine, in my experience. But there we go. We'll get all the pea gravel down, get it encased, and we'll find something else to do. Right, that's 1 hole filled with pea gravel. Brilliant. Right then, for all you thrill seekers out there, this video gets even more exciting. We're actually now going to start the plasterboarding. Woohoo! Right, said plasterboarding of ceilings, overshot, save trying to do any fancy cuts, and then used mix fancy milling bit, not too sure what it's called, on the router to get a nice clean edge to it. I'll just show you the stages of vapour barriering that we're doing up there, and then we'll get this thing boarded. So here we have it in its naked form, 100mm PIR with foamed round, just to fill in the gaps, and then this side taped every joint with some foil tape, and then on top of that we'll vapour barrier it with some foil vapour barrier, and that's it. And then we're going to continue that once we've done this bit and move the scaffold around and do it all the way around. And I think that is the best, firmly efficient way of doing this. We're not going to vapour barrier past the void. It's going to keep the void clear throughout to keep that consistent. Just do what we can where there's insulation there, just to get that heat back into the room so it doesn't all leak out. And yeah, don't know, what you reckon? Worth it? Not sure, but why not? It doesn't take too long to do it. Right, let's get some plasterboard up. Beautiful, all that is sorted. That's the screwing up plasterboard done for a while. Now we're going to move on to the dabbing and get this utility sorted. We'll put you on time lapse, play a bit of music, and then we'll talk you through what we've done, how we've done it, once we've worked out it for ourselves. Well, one thing you probably worked out from that footage is that we ain't plasterers, but I like to think that we can take our time and do a decent job of the prep work for them. We shall see. If I get moaned at, or praised, I'll let you know. One thing I think they will agree with me on is do your reveals and heads of windows and doors first and get them right. Now, there's no excuse here. This is an obviously new build, so that door and window should be lovely and square, as should the bifolds over there. But your house, you might be reboarding a wall or something in an old cottage or something where your front door, like mine is way out. I'll show you that in future episodes because we're doing a bit of work at my house soon. It's amazingly out of plumb. Anyway, then you've got to make a decision. Whereas here, obviously, that is nice and square and true and plumb. We can do our plasterboard around it to suit, and then our gaps from the frame to the plasterboard are even all the way around. That's very, very important because all these lines here that you've got to be parallel with. If you're not, it will just catch the eye and look absolutely horrendous. But as I say, if your old house, something's out, you're going to make a decision. Do you do yours plumb or do you follow the actual frame itself? I suggest you follow the frame and get the gap from maybe the edge of the glass to the reveal consistent all the way around. So, but that is a decision for you to make, not for me. Right then, on to tomorrow, where we will be vapour barrieing, insulating and boarding that little beauty. Right then, a step-by-step guide of making a stud wall as firmly efficient as possible. I have built this wall, it's already documented in another video. It's an attempt to make it as soundproof as possible. If you want to know a bit more information as why it looks the way it does, I'll put the video top corner of your screen now, and link will be in the description to it. The step one then, as you can see from the other side then, we've plasterboarded it, and behind that we have got the vapour barrier, and we've got our mattresses in as well, just to take the weight of the radiator that's going into the utility. So from this side then, step one, insulate it. Right then, fully insulated, just normal 100mm cavity insulation. It's a bit tricky because with this type of wall there's loads of nooks and crannies, so we've packed it in everywhere that we can. Now what we're going to do, stage two, is vapour barriers. I will go into more detail where I got this from and how much it was at the end of the video, and the theory, or my theory, behind using it. And yeah, we're going to go start at the top, work our way down, foil tape every joint, there won't be many of them, and yeah, let's get that sorted. Ta-da! That's it. We've marked where the sockets are. We'll cut them in after. You don't have to, but we're going to. So yeah, just plasterboard it now. What do you reckon, eh? Mark's had another one of his monumental tidy ups and moved everything back out of that room, back into this one. So then the utility and the downstairs bathroom can all be first fixed now. And it's, yeah, looking like rooms, aren't they? Finally, excellent. A quick top tip for you, bifold doors. Obviously, they're getting installed relatively early into the job. They're brand new, they're beautiful, they're perfect, and they're installed onto a building site. Got to keep them clean, but also you need to be able to use them. Square guttering, we've got an old length here, fits over the threshold perfectly, almost just clips on. It's great stuff. So when you open the doors, which sometimes you've got to, it'd be nice if you could just leave them, tape them up and not touch them. You've got to. When they're opened up, cut it to length, put it over the threshold, stops anything going down there. There you go. There's one for you. Right then, vapour barrier. What do you reckon? A waste of time? It's not detrimental, is it? Let's face facts, but have a waste of my time. This stuff is from Screwfix simply because they're the only company I could find that could get it to me the following day. They are readily available, B&Q, Wixies, online, whatever, but it's not a lot of places sell it that I can find off the shelf. So you've got to order it in, and yeah, there you go, about 47 quid I think it was. 1.2 by 20 metres, I've got two of these. So yeah, that's all it is. And I do this on all my projects, stud walls of vapor barrier, foil backs of vapor barrier, just to get that heat that hits it, reflecting back into that room. I think it's the most firmly efficient way of insulating a room, obviously accompanied with the insulation, of course. What do you reckon? Is it a waste of time? You could go proper anal with it and tape up every single hole that comes through with for the cables, that kind of thing. I'm not going to go to that extent, simply because it's a domestic property that's built onto the back of a house that has none of that at all. To a certain extent, to go super anal here, you're not really going to achieve what you think you're going to achieve. I just think that with all the insulation that we put in, that we've got to put in the floor, in the warm deck, in the cavities, just, yes, you'd always insulate the stud wall, but just having that vapor barrier as well, just to keep the heat that gets generated in this room to this room, I think is the best way of doing it. But again, what do you reckon? On the back of that wall, there's a radiator. So again, once that radiator's on, the foil back, the vapor barrier will reflect that heat back into that room as well. Put in the comments what you think. As I say, I've done nothing detrimental, but I may have completely wasted my time. But I like the idea of it. I did my house like it. And we're feeling the benefits, you know. So, yeah, I didn't do the ceilings internally because I didn't think there's anything wrong with the rooms underneath it, heating the bedroom, especially in the winter. But again, yeah, it's an effort, isn't it? It's an effort. Right then, Poogate, it's stopped. 3 things have happened. One of 3 things. They've seen the video and stopped it. They've seen the camera and stopped it, or they were on holiday. The weeks would tell which one of those 3 has taken. Yeah, there we go. And also, don't forget of our competition that we've got running to win a FlexiSpot table and also raise money to buy kids Christmas presents at the Birmingham Children's Hospital. Right then, until next week, when hopefully the weather's going to stay, we're going to be on that roof building it. Fingers crossed. Stay tuned. Subscribe, notification bell. All our videos will come up for you. Nice one. Take care.